how I made something out of nothing, yeah, out of nothing, really made something out of nothing, out of nothing, how I make something out of nothing, yeah, how I make something out of nothing. I'm grinding for these hundreds, you acting like you was there but you wasn't. In Chicago trapping, I was making hundreds, how they get my boy a dozen, that shit really got me bugging. Know they plotting, know they up to something, shit got me feeling. Hi bitches, what's good? It's Janae. I'm back with another video. In today's video, I want to talk about a serious issue that has been plaguing the trans community that needs to be talked about a lot more than some of the other bullshit that a lot of trans YouTubers and influencers would rather talk about that doesn't actually benefit our community. I wanted to talk about the issue is that there's a lot of black trans women in Pacific that are being murdered. And this is not okay, and it's actually an upward trend. I have a few articles that I wanted to read real quick to start off. The first article right here, I pulled like two little paragraphs I just wanted to put on the screen and read. It says, in 2018, advocates tracked at least 26 deaths of at least transgender or gender nonconforming people in the U.S. due to fatal violence, the majority of whom were black transgender women. It says, sadly, 2019 has already seen at least 25 transgender or gender nonconforming people fatally shot or killed by other violent means. We say at least because too often these stories go unreported or misreported. There's an issue that this article was written before 2019 even ended, so the number could have been higher. And the issue of shit getting misreported is a lot of times these people will be reported like with their dead names. They won't be reported as a transgender woman, just as like a man, as a cis man, which is not okay because that's like basically erasing a person's existence. Like that's like acting like this person never existed. Like if I died today and like people said like my dead name and I died, that would basically be saying that Janae didn't exist. Like I'm not being acknowledged that Janae lived a life. So I have a little chart here because I am a fucking numbers bitch. I love statistics. So I have a little chart here that I found, and you could see a steady incline of anti-LGBT murders, and that does make sense to a degree. You'd think that with like it being more well known about being trans and being gay and shit like that it would go down, but it's different because the people that don't like it are pushing back and getting more upset because the more often they see it, the people that already hate us, they're not gonna like us more, they're just gonna hate us more. So unfortunately, this is an issue that we're gonna have to work harder and find an issue of how to protect these people. The big question is why? So why are there so many black trans women getting killed? So one of the contributing factors to why there is a disproportionate amount of black trans women getting killed compared to other groups, other racial groups, there's a disproportionate number of black people getting killed in general. Be that by the police or by other civilians, it's a big issue. This is mostly due to racism, but also because there is an excessive amount of black people, and not just black people, all minorities that live in impoverished communities. And they get clumped together in these slums or housing projects, and we all know that poverty creates violence and other sorts of crime. And especially when you put a bunch of poor people together on top of each other, that creates even more problems, even more crime. It's like crabs in a bucket, pretty much. It's a really fucked up situation. I've been blessed with the opportunity as a white person to have different experiences and go to a school that was 90% minorities, 10% white. And I'm blessed to have these experiences that's different from most white people. So I have more of an understanding than like the average white person on this issue. Another contributing factor to there being such a high homicide rate is that typically in a traditional black family, black men are expected to be very hyper masculine and straight. Now, despite trans women not being men, bi people who are not accepting and who are transphobic will perceive them that way. And for some reason, I don't understand, that is seen as a threat by a lot of people. So that is a big factor. There's instances where maybe uh, a trans woman is talking to a guy, and then the guy finds out that they're trans, and then they start to question themselves, and because of their own upbringing and how they were conditioned to believe a certain way, that scares them, and so they respond with violence, also because of that hyper masculine upbringing. So that's part of the issue. So many of you noticed that my boyfriend is black and he is pansexual, so I thought it would be good for him to come on here real quick and share his experiences with growing up in a black household and certain expectations that were put on him.
For me personally, because everybody experiences is different. Depends on your family life, the environment you grew up in, the neighborhood, this, that, and the other. So everybody experiences different. So don't take my word as the overall word. But from where I came from, in terms of home life, I was expected to be this traditional man's man in the sense that I was supposed to take care of this, take care of that, guard over your family, be real handy, and be a man. You know what I mean? Like just like, well, I'm using air quotes when I say that. Be a man. You know what I mean? Whatever you see when you hear that, that's what some of my expectations were. That's because my home life, I came from I grew up in a household where that was the way that my grandfather was. He was a very man's man. He had to, because he had to take care of his family and everything. And so same as my brother. But in terms of the environment that I grew up in, hyper masculinity, being a man's man, that's one thing. But hyper masculinity, the toxic masculinity, is what I saw when growing up in my neighborhood. And that's because one of the main things is not being seen as weak. Weakness in some parts of the black community is like it's the one thing that you can't show. You can never show weakness. You can never see any type of softness in you or anything like that, because they will try to use it against you. They will think they can walk all over you, beat you down, use you up, spit you out. And so that mindset is ingrained in a lot of black youth, and it's very negative because nobody should go through life always feeling like they need to be king shit. You know what I mean? And it's very sad that that's what a lot of people have to go through. Luckily, I was able to maneuver through life in a way to where I could be myself, be true to myself, without having to give in to a lot of the negative influences around me, so I could be a better person, that I want to be.
So, what do we do about this? How do we solve this issue? And to be completely honest with you, I don't have the answers. I don't know what we do about this. This is a big epidemic. I'm not a politician. I don't know how to make changes like that from a systemic basis. But what I can say is that this is a fucked up world, and you have to protect yourself in this world. So if that means carrying pepper spray, taser, gun, whatever it may be, just do it. Because the most important thing is your safety. Your life means so much. So, like, keep a gun on you if that's what you have to do. Like, that's the world that we live in right now. Just protect yourself above everything else. I love y'all, bitches. Thank you so much. I really hope this gets better. Bye, bitches. Peace out.
Hey, yo, Josh, stop that shit, nigga.
Hey, it's Janae, bitches. Janae.
Hey, yeah, running from the odds, I ain't never gonna stop. Spin a block, spin a block. My name is Young Trish, you know I spin a block on a hater. I'm dark and I'm deep, so call me Mr. Vader. I stay on my grind like I stay on my grind like a skater. Won't hook up for free, I ain't made it. I always be swaggin', but ain't got no tailor. I stay drippin' sauces, a whole lot of flavor. I drip D, all white Gucci shoes on my feet. I don't need no worry, I don't need no lamp, cause I roll with the squad, so I think I need a G. Horn go BB, I'm the nigga came from nothing, I was stuck in the street. I was with it since a baby, if you tryna be with me, you gotta be on my team. I done really took an oath, I won't never take a L. If you acting like a O, you disappearing like a spell. I'm fast like a cheetah, you slow like a snail. I always be winning, I never do fail. I pop out the beat like a turtle, she turtle no shell. Running from the odds, I ain't never gonna stop. Spin a block, spin a block, spin a block, spin a block. My name is Young Trish, you know I spin a block on a hater. Do bad on my own, I ain't doing no favors. Hey, yeah, take off like a seagull, straighten out like an eagle. My nigga got a chopper, he holding my back, but I'm toting a deagle. I always be popping, I feel like a weasel. I drip